Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So in this video, we're going to go over Hismena AS in her 5-star form, of course, and I'll do a little bit of gameplay and let you know what I think of her. But the most important question of all is
she hot or not?
If she was my daughter, I'd tell her to cover up. Anyways, Hismena AS is a much more powerful form of her regular normal style form, although Japan does have the manifest which increases NS Hismena's use. That being said, very powerful lens of IDA, and her VC is actually very useful in tanking and also healing her up from the back. So restore users HP 50 and MP 50% as well. So she got damaged in battle at the front line. You can VC her out and VC her back in, although I haven't really found a viable use for that yet. That being said, these are the 3 skills we're going with, although of course you can definitely modify them as you see fit, either with Grasta or your own preferences. So let's bring up her moveset right now here. And the Argus Bale is the one from her 4-star normal style as well. Self-damage 30, water pierce times 4 medium. Not bad, especially before the advent of zones, being that you can actually get against weakness 4 hits 10% AF charge. You can see her other moves here, modest minus 15%. She has a physical resistance 15%, and even crit rate of user 50% for 3 moves. Nowadays, you're actually depending on either weapons or Grasta or crit setter to do that for you. Alright, so her 2 AS moves are the Trishula, and this one is interesting to handle. So I'll talk about that a little bit later, but this one is a single target times 3. And water type attacks of user 30% up for stackable 3 times for a total of 60% and lasts for 5 turns and stacks a blaze on. As you use this more often, it actually decreases in damage. However, it also increases damage when used consecutively. So it's a little bit confusing how damage is done. But the main thing is it also increases type attacks of the user for 50% for 1 move. And her counterpart, Rosa Espina, is water pierce single target, only 1 hit XL, power and speed boostable, stackable for 3, and consumes when blazon. So obviously, the more you use this one, again, increased damage when used consecutively, but less blazons is less damage. So my usually idea is to stack 5 of the Trishula and then slowly spam the Rosa Espinas, although I've come across the fact that some people use 3 stacks of Trishula and then go on Rosa kind of back and forth. So, let me know in the comments below how you guys use AS Hismena, if it's a little bit different, but I think the easiest way is just 5 stacks and then that Rosa Espina. Now, in terms of her board, you can see that here. Note that I actually do have the MP consumption increased by 50% on my Grasta settings, and that's why you see such a large MP consumption numbers. I would highly recommend modifying it if you're in the overworld or just against normal fights. However, against tougher bosses in the game, you'll need every little bit of damage, which means you have to enhance those Grasta with the specialized ores such as Weak Point, Last Stand, Enemy Numbers, so on and so forth. Let's take her out for a spin. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I do also have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So obviously against weaker mobs, against ones who are weak to water, she has absolutely no problem. Don't forget she gives herself water attacks up and it can stack. And obviously if she's in any zone, it gives her additional type attack plus 50. She's just by herself solo, so no benefit of zones here. That being said, she can easily counter mobs, although the fact she can't heal and also the fact she doesn't have AoEs really makes a big difference against mobs. So I would say she's definitely not more a mob killer, more so she is a boss fighter. And so you can see her here against one of the older bosses, and at the time very, very difficult, True Spirits. This is the water one. If you're wondering why we're water on water, we just want to kind of demonstrate her abilities in water zone as well as in pierce zone, being that she's actually both. Now, in today's meta, you can actually create a water pierce team with, for example, AS Foreign, AS Hismena, AS Leclerc, and things like Yukino or something like that. So you can definitely tailor your pierce team to all of one element, or you can mix it up with units such as obviously Clad for our support and so on and so forth. So the Stardust's pretty much the same. Turn 1, obviously, you get kicked back, and you use Bertrand to tank that so that it guarantees that he's the one kicked back. Turn 2 is a large elemental AoE, and you need that shield from VCing Meryl to survive. And then turn 3 is a 99% HP damage, which doesn't kill you. So turn 3 is safe to kind of get set up for your AF, and you want to do that before turn 4, which is a large water AoE. And so in turn 3, we're just going to do our AF here. We're going to set up our stacks using Trishula. We have Bertrand back up front, and the reason why for that is that we're going to have to use him to set Rage after the AF so that no one else gets hit or kicked back in phase 2 of this fight. At this point, we just have to spam. We can obviously set up AS Leclerc using Serious Wolf's Dance to reduce water resistance as well as physical resistance for your whole team. And of course, AS Ford is our crit setter, although in this case, I do have the Void Lance from fighting those dual Hachio or Eastern Spirit Horrors, in which case I got that, which guarantees type attack plus guaranteed crit rate for our powerful Lance user. So keep in mind that if you do push the True Spirit to its HP stopper, you don't have to worry about the mob. It just automatically kind of goes into the next phase, and the mob won't be able to attack or do anything to counter you. So I didn't target the mob in that case, and we just pushed it directly to phase 2 of this fight. Okay, so again, the rotation is still the same. We're going to make sure we VC out foreign because we want to re-establish zone here. And the reason for that is otherwise those water zone will enhance our attacks, but also enhance the boss's attack such that we will probably die, and that's not a good thing in any fighting RPG. Okay, so we're obviously already applied Rage and Pain using Overbear with Bertrand, and we're just going to kind of apply some debuffs and put in some units here. We used Rosa, and note that in Water Zone, it did do a fair bit of damage against the enemy since it wasn't resistant to water attacks. If you want some more, examples of how I use this kind of team, check out my most recent fights against the dual Eastern Spirits. I do use a mixed team such as that, and then substituting units as necessary to get the required damage, such as, for example, AS Hozuki. Alright, so again, turn 1 is done. Turn 2 is, remember, that large water AoE, and so we really need to have VCing in foreign to reset zone, and also to have Mariel VC in for that 35% type shield for 1 or 2 turns, depending if you have a VC Gresta. The timing really does matter because we want Mariel to come in last, and so you really have to make note of your speed. And if you watch some of my boss fights, you'll note that timing who's the speediest, slowing down the units using either badges or whatnot, or removing certain Grasta or things like that, really does make a difference in how your team proceeds. And so as you get further in the game and try to really get more advanced strategies, you do have to balance your speed to make sure you have persons acting first, middle, and you'll know exactly who acts right away. Remember that turn 3 in these waves, it does a 99% damage and it won't kill you. And so again, same thing, we're going to activate an AF and kill it, or at least kill it to the second phase end. So again, we're not going to concentrate on the mobs. We're just going to end this boss right here, push it to the third phase. One thing about the Trishula versus the Rosa Hismena is that you can actually use AS Hismena as almost a one-shot kill, such that you have all 5 stacks built up either during AF or whatnot. And outside AF is when you can use those Rosa Hismena, and then if you have a crit setter or something along those lines to boost that kind of damage, she can just one-shot kill after HP stopper for some weaker super bosses. Obviously for some tough ones, I don't know if that's going to be the case, but in this example, it will be close. And so I'll show you what I mean. So we're in the final phase here. Boss has about 20 something million, and you can see that in Water Zone and crit set and all those so on and so forth, we already did 16 mil with one hit. And in turn 2, remember that we're worried about the AoE. However, don't forget that Storm Bite from Clad really does speed up our team. We should act first. And with multiple stacks of the Blazons, even the second hit with Rosa Hismena should be able to end the boss right here. Although I will say I'm still fairly limited in skill when using AS Hismena. I've only had her for less than a week. But this is basically the general idea of how to use her. Again, feel free to leave some comments if you have some suggestions for me to improve the way I use Hismena AS. But yeah, she is extremely powerful, and like I said, very strong single target water DPS. I think her strengths lie in that she can be boosted by other units on the team. However, she herself is actually very, very selfish in that she doesn't really buff other units on the team. So a lot of times, some DPS can actually share the buffs with the team. In this case, Hismena only boosts herself either with the type attack, the water, the power, the speed, and so on and so forth. And so she does really rely on other people to give her additional things like crit setting or extra damage or, so on and so forth. All right. So, in conclusion, I think AS Hismena is a great unit. She has some limited drawbacks in the fact that she's single target and obviously can't boost others. Relatively selfish unit. However, on the right teams with the right setup, she can lead your water or pierce team to victory and slaughter the enemies as she sees fit. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.